the Dallas Cowboys, who traded back with the Eagles to number 12. So what did you think about them trading back and then drafting Micah Parsons, which is a position that they kind of, I guess, have a pretty good depth with Leighton Vander Esch, and then they have one more linebacker whose name is escaping me at the moment too.
Yeah, so the pick to me makes sense, but Dan Quinn as a new defensive coordinator, he's going to bring in a little bit different defense. He kind of likes these big, rangy, speedy linebackers.
Yeah.
So he could develop him, and I'll say Micah Parsons provides a lot of versatility. He can rush the passer, he can play run defense, he can also not pass protect, go in pass coverage to man or zone. Some development in the latter two, but still, he can still turn into one of these guys, and that's why I think Dan Quinn really likes him. The trading back with your division rival kind of makes sense, I would say, because even though now they're going to have to guard Devontae Smith now for at least the next 4 to 5 years. So I do get that. But for them gaining picks in the process, I think it makes sense, because I think you kind of figure at the time New York was picking 11th, and you don't think that they're going to go with Micah Parsons. They're probably going to go with a skilled player position like Devontae Smith, probably actually, for someone of Daniel Jones to throw to. So it makes sense if you add a better value pick. All in all, the Cowboys are a very defensive-heavy draft, and that's kind of what they need. Their offense is actually kind of set. Dak Prescott can stay healthy.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good offense, but their defense was their biggest weakness. And all in all, position-wise, I think they addressed almost everything. Well, not almost everything. Well, only thing they didn't address was safety, but some of these cornerbacks can transition to safety.
Trayvon Diggs played safety in college for a little bit. I think he might move over there. I really like the Kelvin Joseph pick. I mean, in that division, you have some pretty athletic wide receivers. The Giants drafted one that I was pretty high on at the 20th pick, who will remain nameless for the moment. But then the Eagles drafted Devontae Smith, who we just talked about. Terry McLaurin is on the other on the Washington football team. Also, another nameless rookie wide receiver is coming onto the Washington football team, who we both liked. And so I think they did a good job getting value here. I mean, elite athlete, 4.34 speed, pretty good 3-cone drill.
Yeah,
he's a big playmaker. I just think he needs time to develop. And kind of continue to just not be as raw, to kind of get honed in.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wish they would have done more is improve that offensive line. Ezekiel Elliott is a guy that, if his offensive line can't create holes, to me he's kind of like in a way like Derrick Henry. If he gets in space, he's so hard to bring down, but you just have to get him in space.
Yeah.
And he can make a guy or two miss, but it's tough with him because that O-line wasn't that good last year, and so he had, I think, an average season for him. And so I wish they would have addressed the offensive line a little bit more, possibly in the third round. I think the Chauncey Golson pick and Osa Odigizua was a little bit of a reach. But I mean, I can't really complain too much. They definitely did a ton to bolster up that defense, which was their biggest problem last year, besides the fact that Dak Prescott got hurt. But you can't really control that.
Well, and so that's where I would – my only thing with the Micah Parsons pick is if Dak Prescott is your prize commodity and they paid him $160 million over the next 4 years, Rashawn Slater sitting right there with the 12th pick. And you just touched on increasing the run game, giving Ezekiel Elliott more opportunity. Also then protecting Dak Prescott. Now, I'm not blaming the lineman on the Dak Prescott injury. That was Dak Prescott was rolling out.
Oh, yeah.
The Dak Prescott was rolling out, and it was a freak thing to begin with. But you still want to protect him. Rashawn Slater's there, and I think Rashawn Slater provides better football impact, and I even think has a little bit of a higher ceiling than Micah Parsons. His floor is definitely higher than Micah Parsons' floor. And so I know they want to be very defensive oriented, But also, if you want to pick up Dak Prescott, and you already know you're going to have a very defensive-heavy draft, you're going to be able to find guys, like you said, Kelvin Joseph, Osa Adegazuwa from UCLA. I think I pronounced that correctly. But they're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at the defense with rookies. And you have, some say, the best offensive lineman in the draft. I don't think he's best, but the clear second best offensive lineman. Yeah, and so that's where I wonder.
He's a top 5 offensive lineman that we've seen in the past few years, and we had 4 go off the board in the top 15 last year.
Yeah.
So, for me, I definitely agree. I think that would have been a great pick. Yeah. But I do think Micah Parsons will. Yeah. Wait, what?
I'm not complaining with the Micah Parsons pick. I think the better pick would have been Rashawn Slater to protect. Protect Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And also, it opens up the run game as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And in a division with Chase Young,
who he
dominated in college, I think that would have been very big. And we'll get to the Giants later, but they drafted Azeez Ojulari in the second round. That was a guy I had a first-round grade on. And so, for me, I think they left a little bit on the table there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the picks that I really like is a Jabril Cox pick. In the 4th round. He's an inside linebacker from LSU, and he actually played at North Dakota State, the powerhouse of the FCS.
Yeah.
And for me, he's an athletic linebacker. I think for me, if they would have drafted Rashawn Slater in the 1st round and then just got only Jabril Cox in the 4th round, for me, I would have graded this draft like an A-.
Yeah.
Just like the Eagles. But I think double dipping at that inside linebacker position, kind of, I don't know. It ruined it. It ruined it a little bit for me just because I think they left something on the table.
Well, that's where the one thing with Micah Parsons that he does bring to the table that Dan Quinn, I think, likes a lot. Now, and we keep talking about Dan Quinn. We don't know how much of a say he has on the draft, but just talking about his overall effectiveness. I can see him liking a player like Micah Parsons. I just wonder, though, if he's going to be able to develop more into the overall linebacker, if he's going to be kind of more of the third down blitzing type linebacker. And so he's like an edge linebacker hybrid right now.
Yeah, he did a good job of covering in college. For me, it just it wasn't something that he was really, really good at. And I think Jabril Cox is just he's not as good of a pass rusher or I guess a run defender, but I guess he's just a good all around linebacker.
Yeah.
But so for me, I'm going to give this draft just a B to B plus. If it were a number, it'd be like an 86.5.
Yeah.
So
okay. I was going to go with B minus, just because, like I said, it was very defensive heavy as well, and they had a lot of late round picks, which that's not why I gave it B minus. I think that with missing out on Rashawn Slater, I think that's going to come back to bite them. Now, I could say that in 20 years from now, Micah Parsons could be given his Hall of Fame inductee speech,
Yeah.
So and that's where it could be wrong. But if you already know it's going to be so defensive oriented, and they address damn near every single defensive position, I think you got to take the better player in that position and protect Dak Prescott, open up the running game against Ezekiel Elliott. Because if they can open up the running game with Ezekiel Elliott, then you have Dak Prescott who can also run. Then he's throwing to Amari Cooper. He's throwing to not Cole Beasley. Who's their guy that
CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah.
Michael Gallup?
Yeah. So they have so many weapons. And it's something similar to where, what are they going to say? Like why I somewhat debated with the Falcons drafting Penei Sewell, so to say, is if you can open up that run game, solidify that offensive line, your offense is going to be so good. It's already good now. Same thing with the Cowboys. But solidify that offensive line, and now it's going to be so good. And then you draft picks, and then you hope that you draft correctly on the defense from there. But that being said, though, I do think the Cowboys are still the best team overall. I think they would have won the division last year. Dak Prescott had stayed healthy. I still think that they can win this year. But overall, though, since I think that they missed on the first pick, especially with trading back, I would have to give them a B minus.
Okay. Yeah, just one last little touch. I think on paper they're the best team. I just don't. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on some of the rookies to perform.
Yeah.
And so, because I think that defensive side of the ball is still going to be very inexperienced.
Yeah.
And I think when they come into a late December game at Washington or in Philadelphia or in New York, where it's an outdoor stadium, it's cold, and that offense is having an off night, I don't think they're going to win that game just because I think that defense is going to be young and inexperienced.
Well, and that comes with being a young and inexperienced team, to be honest.
Yeah, but not that those other teams are so much more experienced. I just don't think Dallas is necessarily set up to win those kind of games.
Yeah.
So